So, Coach, you just said process. When I talked to Chris a couple of weeks ago, it seemed like every other word out of his mouth was about the process and technique and getting little things right. Is that just the culture that's in this program?
Absolutely. That's one of the things that we instill is that it's 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 a crock pot. It's not a microwave. It takes you have to lay a foundation. You have to do things right. You have to be good in the weight room. You have to learn how to do things. It's not just run hard, turn left. A lot of people think that about track and field, and the sport has changed so much. And when you got guys like Chris and Jovan and guys like Tyler Adams that are competing at a very elite level, it's not just about having good athletes. Now, that's a big part of it, but they've got to do everything right. And I tell people all the time, especially like in sprinting, is that if you don't do some things right, things can go really, really wrong really fast and lead to bad things. So you really have to focus on getting little details correct and working on the finer points and understanding that you have to do A, B, and C before you get to X, Y, Z.
So I think you just said it takes a special kind of athlete. I think one of the reasons that's the case for track is because you train months and months and months and months
We do.
for a race that in the 60-meter and indoor lasts 6 seconds.
Like
In the
exactly.
in the 200-meter lasts 20 seconds or a little bit more than
Yeah.
20 seconds. Like it's a special kind of athlete where you have months of preparation going into a blink of an eye. Like,
Exactly.
how do you coach your guys for the mental game of that?
Well, it really comes in the recruiting process. We want people in the program that are, we don't. Basically, we have some expectations coming into it, and we have, and it's right there posted on the wall over there. We have things that we expect out of our athletes. If and we do this in the recruiting process. If you don't see yourself being serious and understanding what it takes to be a successful collegiate track and field athlete, this program's not going to be a good fit for you. And so it starts there. And then some of it is just teaching. I mean, having a guy like Chris around has been great for Jovan because Chris is very, very motivated. Academically, I don't have to worry about Chris. He takes care of his business. He does his job in the classroom. Um, he is focused on running fast and being a Division One All American and running. I mean, our goal this year is to run under 10 seconds for 100 meters. He's run 10:08. We know the steps we have to take to get there. He is focused on that goal.
All right, Coach. So the biggest moment of success for you guys, 2017, winning the Lubbock Regional, getting to the Super Regional, and after that, you became a bit of a social media superstar. And you probably don't like me saying that too much, but what were the cool things about that? What were some things about that weren't just so great?
Uh, you know, you can't stop God's timing, and he had brought me and my family an incredibly long ways through a very arduous journey, and turned a tragedy and turned it into triumph, and ultimately took our mess and made it a message. And I think that was just the platform that he used. And leading into that, I didn't have any social media. I'm not a social media guy, but the outpouring was so significant that uh, we saw it as probably the most viable form to get the message out. Obviously, to thank people and just to let them know that we appreciate their support, and which ultimately led to uh, telling our story and through a book and different forms of social media and videos and another book and so God opened a door, and I've always been this way. If He opens a door, I'm not going to stand around. I'm going to go through it, and we took a leap of faith. And social media is what it is. It can be very, very harmful and detrimental, or it can be an incredible tool uh, and an incredible piece to somebody's witness and story.
All right, I'm happy you said pack mentality because I have to ask, what was the origins of this pack baseball that you guys played? Now, where did that start?
Well, I think it was just a maturation process. As a young coach, I always knew what I liked to do and what we did as a unit, a team, or a group of hitters, or even when I was the head coach at Texarkana, I knew what we did, but I never defined it. Literally sat down, mapped it out, defined it, how we do this, what we expect out of that, what your role is, etc. And Rob Childress and I showed up at Texas A&M in the summer of '05 and walked into a team that was a little bit down, and we had a really tough year in '06, and both Rob and I were coming off of a lot of success at Arkansas and Nebraska, respectfully, and just couldn't figure out, how we hit 240 and went 25 and 30, and felt like we lacked some buy-in, and maybe we could have handled things differently. And so literally, I was sitting down one night. I racked my brain all summer over it, and sitting down one night and watching a documentary on a pack of wolves, and that's when I had the light bulb moment. Realized that every literally inside of a wolf pack in nature, every wolf has a job, duty, or function, and in order for them to survive, not win a baseball game, but to survive, they have to perform that duty or function, and if they don't, then they become an outcast, or what the term lone wolf, which people use, and lone wolves don't make it on their own, and so it takes everybody in the pack. And so I was able to sit down and pen my thoughts and really kind of put and define our program and our system and put it on paper, and that was back in '06, and so it's been a long time. It's been obviously highly successful, and a lot of programs use it from coast to coast, and so that's something that I'm really proud of.
Last Saturday, the Bearcats hosted arch rival Stephen F. Austin and made quick work of the defending conference champions. The Bearcats shot over 69% from the field and 75% from the three-point line in the first half as they jumped out to a 58-34 halftime lead. The Bearcats would cruise in the second half and walk away with a 94-72 victory. This was not one of those instances where the score misrepresented a game. The Lumberjacks just looked outmatched on the court by the ball movement of the Bearcats offense. The most telling part of the game was late in the first half when the Lumberjacks went completely away with their defensive game plan. The Lumberjacks traditionally play a very high-pressure man-to-man defense, which the Bearcats shredded on Saturday. SFA then decided to do away with that and went into a soft 2-3 zone look. As soon as the Jacks did that, the Bearcats hit RJ Smith behind the zone for an alley-oop dunk. I believe it was that moment that really sealed the Lumberjacks' fate, as there was nothing they could do to slow down the hot-shooting Bearcats. Welcome everyone to another episode of Chasing the Cup. My name is Gabe Myers, and I'm here to guide you through another season of Bearcat sports. On the program today, we will take a deep dive into the SHSU baseball team with head coach Matt Deggs. The Bearcats are coming off a 2-1 weekend at the Rycast Classic in Florida and are at home this weekend to take on Louisiana Lafayette. After sitting down with Deggs, Chasing the Cup will break down the Bearcat men's basketball team, which had their winning streak ended on Saturday by the Lamar Cardinals, but bounced back on Wednesday night with an overtime win over Nicholls State. The women's team has run into a bit of heartbreak in the past week, dropping 2 close road contests against 2 of the top 3 teams in the Southland Conference. Bearcat softball season is in full swing, and the team had a successful weekend in Waco at the Getterman Classic and followed that up with a win Wednesday night against Texas State. Men's golf kicked off its spring season in a big way as they claimed a victory at the All-American Tournament in Houston. Bearcat bowling was in action as well and faced the top 3 teams in the nation on Sunday at the Lady Jack Classic in Dallas. We have an absolutely loaded show for you guys today. I cannot wait to get started. We'll dive right in after a word from our local sponsor. And Cannon hits that one down to first baseline. That will be fair. Lofton's going to come around from second. He will score. McKnight's rounding third. He's coming to the plate. He will also score. Cannon's going to get all the way to third. And a 2 RBI triple for Jordan Cannon as the Bearcats are on the board. And Davila will line that into center field. Riviera's going back, and that will go all the way to the wall. Kauser will score easily. Davila will stand up going into second. An RBI double. It's now 8-6, and the fans are on their feet here at Don Sanders Stadium. And the ball's going to get past the catcher, Tony. Harp is going to score, and we're tied. All the runners advance, so now McKnight has runners on second and third with 2 outs here. But Tony unable to corral that pitch in the dirt, and we're back where we started at 8-8 here in the bottom of the 5th. Who saw this coming after the top of the 3rd inning?